in the group. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. From the 26th word, if you say divine determining has bound us like this. So before starting, let me remind again, the PDF we are reading, it's compiled from the dersleri tafsir. So we are at the page 6. It is explaining the manifestations of mercy of Allah, the wisdom and the justice behind the happenings, the troubles happening to us, the misfortunes. So we will continue reading from the 26th word. It's on divine determining qadar. There is a question here. If you say divine determining has bound us like this, limiting us, it has negated our freedom, isn't belief it a burden and irksome for the heart and spirit, which yearn for expansion and to roam freely? The answer, absolutely not. It's not burdensome. It rather affords a luminosity and a joy, producing a lightness, ease, and spirit, and ensuring confidence and security. Because if man, human beings, does not believe in divine determining, he is compelled to bear a burden as heavy as the world on the shoulders of his spirit, within a constricted space which allows him only a significant independence and temporary freedom. For man is connected with the whole universe. He has infinite aims and desires. But since his power, will, and freedom are insufficient to meet a millionth of these, it may be understood how awesome is the burden or the distress that he bears. Thus, belief in divine determining throws that burden in its entirety onto the ship of divine determining, allowing him to roam free within its perfections with perfect ease and perfect freedom of spirit and heart. It only negates the petty freedom of the evil commanding soul, nafs al-ammara, and smashes its pharaoh-like tyranny and lordship, and it's acting as its wishes. Belief in divine determining produces such pleasure and happiness, it is beyond description. We shall only allude to it with the following comparison. So with the comparison, inshallah, we will grasp that and we will understand that when we believe in divine determining, it's, as you know, it's the knowledge of Allah. Allah knows everything. He has determined whatever what will happen to us. So believing in qadar, in divine determining, how does it give us security, happiness, pleasure? We will understand with this very beautiful comparison. Two men traveled to the seat of government of a king, and there entered his private palace, a place of rare wonders. One of them did not recognize the king, and laying hands on everything and stealing them, wanted to settle there. However, he experienced certain difficulties, for he had to manage the palace and its park, oversee its revenues, works its machines, and feed its strange animals. He suffered constant distress. The paradise-like park became hell for him. He pitied everything. He could not govern them. He passed his time regretfully. Then this thieving, unmannerly man was cast into prison as a punishment. The second man recognized the king and knew himself to be his guest. He believed that all the matters in the park and palace occurred through the regulation of the law, and that everything functioned with perfect ease in accordance with their program. Leaving the difficulties to the king's law, he benefited with complete enjoyment from all the pleasures of that paradise-like garden, and relying on the king's mercy and the efficacy of the administrative laws, he saw everything as agreeable and passed his life in perfect pleasure and happiness. He understood the meaning of the saying, "He who believes in divine determining is saved from grief." So this is the question is on how divine determining is giving us pleasure, a kind of secure when we believe in divine determining. Isn't it limiting us? The human spirit, the human heart yearns always expansion and roam freely. Does it limit our freedom? The divine determining qadar. So the question was this, and now if you have any comment on this, we can share. So we got maybe, let me define one point. When we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his qadar, his divine determining, we are leaving everything in terms of administration, in terms of taking care of the everything happening to us. We know that it is under the protection, under the control of God Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we don't have any worry about the managing all the happenings, about sustaining the things happening to us. We are acting within the limits of our free will and within the law of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we act accordingly to the laws of God Almighty, so there is no worry for a believer. But a person who doesn't accept Allah, doesn't recognize Allah's power and his divine determining, should control everything happening to them. So they cannot, of course, control anything in their lives. So always they worry, they have anxieties happening to them. They cannot control the things like death, like separation, and so on. Maybe bearing the burden of the life on their weak shoulders. It cannot bear, of course, and it causes distress and anxiety without knowing that, as they do not consider, they do not accept that Allah Almighty is controlling everything, sustaining everything. He is the Lord of the worlds. If you want to share your ideas, please feel free. Any comment or any question comes to mind, we can think together.
I think it's understood.
This matter of divine determining, in fact, it's a deep topic, but this part is quite, with the comparison, it's quite clear. So we understand that those two guests in the palace of the king, one of them is escaping from the law, from the control of the king, and try to control everything related to that person. So cannot control, cannot bear the burden of the things happening to them, to him. But
as you mentioned, brother, divine determining, one aspect of divine determining is the infinite knowledge. And the infinite knowledge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have any time. Then with infinite knowledge and without any time, Allah knows everything. But there is another aspect of the divine determining, as far as I know, which doesn't belong to our free will. For example, we cannot decide the calamities. Now calamities are hitting all humanity at the moment. Now it is related with the divine determining. In our life as well, when we face some difficulties, some hardship, maybe we will not desire it. We doesn't desire it, but it hits us. When okay, then that means that divine determining has two aspects. At one side, okay, with infinite knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, which we will desire, which will our intention also, Allah knows those ones. Therefore, we cannot blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about our actions, since we do not know what it has been written down in the divine determining. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. But there is another aspect, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also providing the things maybe we do not desire it with our free will. For example, we cannot decide about our parents. We cannot decide about some phenomena, some events occurring surrounding us. And then such kind of things, maybe such calamities, some such kind of diseases, for example, illnesses, sickness, are hitting us. Actually, we do not desire it, but it hits us. Okay, by that way, how can we react such kind of things? There is, man amana bil qadar imina min al qadar. Whoever believes in qadar, divine determining, then he will be safe about the
grief, safe from grief.
Grief and also sadness. So he will be safe from the grief. Yeah, from that aspect, I think divine determining is also effective in everybody's life.
Thank you, Nebi Abi. Yeah, it's very important to know that we are under the protection, under the administration of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that knowledge, that knowing that I am always under the mercy, under the preservation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it gives us
under the protection of Allah. Huh?
We know that Allah is all merciful, and He is more merciful to us than ourselves. We cannot control everything. We cannot show mercy more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ourselves, to our beloved ones. And knowing that, it gives us a secure safety, and it gives us tranquility, the serenity of the heart.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. From time to time, we cannot judge everything in a clear manner. We cannot we do not know the details of the things. We judge the things from the apparent view. If we see it, oh, it's ugly, then we judge it, oh, it's ugly. But there are so many things, maybe seems ugly, but behind this ugly veil, there could be so many beautiful things, which is there. A few days ago we discussed this ahsana kulla shay'in khalaqahu. Whatever Allah has created, everything is the best. In a best manner, Allah has created everything. Then all the events, actually, if we try to reach the wisdom there, then we can realize that there is beauty there. Okay. Also, there is an ayah, asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum wa asa an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrun lakum. Allah ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Allah knows, maybe we judge it when we see this from the appearance. We say that, oh, it's not good. But apparently, actually, as a result, it's good, There are the things, everything is good, either itself or as a result. If it is good just itself, we call it essential beauty. If something is good as a result, then it is called relative beauty. Relative beauty. Then that means that everything is good actually. When we face some calamities, when we face some disasters, when we face some illnesses, some sicknesses, some viruses, just at the moment currently we are facing, all over the world is facing. That means that these are all under control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But whatever we can do, we should take some precautions against those ones, since this is our responsibility. But at the end, we must all trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but by taking the precautions.
Yeah. Of course, we are responsible for taking precautions, whatever up to us. And whatever we are taking as a precaution is also a prayer, an active prayer we call dua fi'li. So we are making dua, we are making supplication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us mercy. He treat us according to his wisdom, according to his mercy. We are making this dua. May Allah protect us from that.
Amen.
Yeah, whatever happens to us.
All humanity also, all humanity.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a dua. By taking precautions, we are making dua actively. Yeah. Then if you want, please. Any comments?
Dua, then tevekkül.
Yeah, we rely on Allah. Yeah, we make tawakkul. By taking precautions. This is also tawakkul. Tawakkul doesn't mean that leaving everything, all the causes, and leaving everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No. But after taking precautions, it's the real, I think, tawakkul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like a reliance in a lazy way. It's opposite to his laws of creation. Right. Yeah, awamiri tekwiniye, the laws of creation requires us to act according to the wisdom and applying the cause and effect relationship.
Necessary measures, huh?
Yeah, necessary measures. Yeah.
Yeah, just at the end of this topic, he was saying that leaving the difficulties to the king's law, he benefited with complete enjoyment from all pleasures of that paradise-like garden. You know? If anybody trusts in Allah, that means that he will live in this world like in a paradise-like garden. Since everything is under the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by that way, inshallah, by submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by reliance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But before reliance, before trust, we have to take our precautions and our measures. This is also the key, as we mentioned. And relying on the king's mercy and the efficiency of the administrative laws, he saw everything as agreeable and passed his life in perfect pleasure and happiness. He understood the meaning of the saying, "Man amana bil qadar, amina min al kadar." He who believes in divine determining is saved from grief. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, this is a very good news for the believers. Huh?
Yes.
Shall we, inshallah, continue?
Inshallah.
Reading, inshallah, from the, again, the next topic. The fourth topic is from divine determining, the 26th word. There is a question there, very important question. Maybe in the previous our circle, we tried to answer this question, but remember it's inshallah, we increase our understanding, improve our knowledge on this topic. It's very important. If you say, in the first topic, you prove that everything about divine determining is good and beautiful. Even the evil that comes from it is good and the ugliness beautiful. But the disasters and tribulations in this world refute that statements.
Can you please read the question again, Abi?
Yeah, let me read it again. In the first, this is from the fourth topic of the 26th word. If you say in the first topic, you prove that everything about divine determining is good and beautiful. Even the evil that comes from it's good and the ugliness beautiful. But the disasters and tribulations in this world refute that statement. The answer, oh my soul and my friend who feels severe pain out of intense compassion. The facts that all virtues and perfections return to existence and that the basis of all rebellion, calamities, and defects is non-existence are a proof that existence is pure good and non-existence pure evil. Since non-existence, we call it Adam, non-existence is pure evil, circumstances that either result in non-existence or give an inkling of it, a kind of feeling, also comprise evil. Therefore, life, the most brilliant light of existence, wujud, proceeding through different circumstances, finds strength, it encounters varying situations and it's purified. It takes on numerous qualities and produces the desired results and enters many stages and displays comprehensively the impress of the bestower of life's names. The bestower of life, the Muhyi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his beautiful names showing the manifestation of his beautiful names comprehensively. It's due to this fact that certain things happen to living creatures in the form of griefs, calamities, difficulties, and tribulations, whereby the lights of existence are renewed in their lives and the darkness of non-existence draws distant and their lives are purified for rest, repose, silence, idleness, and rest and monotony are all both in quality and as conditions non-existence. Even the greatest pleasure is reduced to nothing by monotony. Before, in short, any question? If you have, please feel free to share.
It's clear.
Yeah. Inshallah. Let me read the in short part. Since life displays the impresses of the most beautiful names, everything that happens to it, it is good. For example, an extremely rich and infinitely skillful person who is proficient in many crafts for an hour and in return for a wage clothes a miserable wretch in a bejeweled, artistically fashioned garment. This garment he made in order to make the miserable man act as a model and to display the works of his art and his extensive wealth. He works the garment on the man. He gives it various forms and alters it. In order to display every variety of his art, he cuts it, changes it, and lengthens and shortens it. Can the poor man receiving the wage be justified if he says to the person, you are giving me trouble, you are making me bow down and stand up by cutting and shortening this garment, which makes me more beautiful, you are spoiling my beauty. Does he have the right to tell him, you are acting unkindly and unfairly? So no, by no means that, miserable man cannot claim anything because
he paid.
Give him wage and treated mercifully, but he has some duties according to the wage given. Thus, like him, in order to display the impresses of his most beautiful names, So this is a very good comparison to understand what's happening to us as difficulties, troubles,
calamities.
The calamities. Thus, like him, in order to display the impresses of his most beautiful names, the all-glorious maker, the peerless creator, alters within numerous circumstances the garment of existence. He clothes on living creatures, bejeweled with senses and subtle faculties like eyes, ears, the reason, and the heart. He changes it within many situations. Among these are circumstances in the form of suffering and calamity, which show the meanings of some of his names, Asma'ul Husna, and the rays of mercy within flashes of wisdom, and the subtle instances of beauty within those rays of mercy. So in the previous ders, we said that the universe is the result of the law of Allah. Law is the seed, the cause of the creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of his love, out of his mercy, has created the universe. So he wants to introduce himself, his beautiful names, and so that he may show his perfections, his jamal, we say kamal, the perfections and beauties he wants to show. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is the Lord of the worlds. Maybe in that topic, and not understanding this point very profoundly, very clearly, is one point is necessary. We are the servant of the Lord of the worlds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is the Lord, Rabbul Alameen, Lord of the worlds. So in Islam, our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the being his servant. And he is the Lord. Lord means, so we can use the word master, you know, in a master and a slave. What's the relation of the slave to the master? Acting according to the commands of the master. So the slave has no right to complain. And there is a noise distracting us. Ahmed.
Someone is.
Now it's off.
Yeah, thank you. So our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is acting according to his lordship, rububiyyah. So we are acting according to our being servitude. So we are servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have, in fact, no right to complain about what is happening to us. It's just in the explained very beautifully in the comparison. So we are like that model. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is showing, he has given us life, he has given us existence, and he is showing his beautiful names on us. Yeah, sometimes it's happening to us, grief, distress, happening to us, tribulations of life. So he has given us that bounties, endless bounties, and he is testing us with our loyalty, with our servitude. So he is showing his beautiful names like Shafi. He gives us illnesses, and he wants to give us the meaning of Shafi, the pleasure or healing,
sustainer as a result.
Sometimes he calls us hunger. For example, in Ramadan, he wants to feel that the meaning of hunger, so that we can understand his endless mercy in the rizq. It comes to my mind at that point, especially the understanding our servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and acting accordingly to his rububiyyah. So when we understand this point, so there is no question comes to mind. We know that he is, whatever he does, it's beautiful. It's coming from an all-wise creator. Whatever he does is good.
Yeah, yeah, brother. From that explanation, I understood that some difficulties we are facing actually is improving our abilities, capabilities. For example, if we do not use our muscle, then muscle is shrinking and becoming weaker. But if the muscle faces with some difficulties, then the muscle is improved and being strengthened. Similarly, difficulties actually, which is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it improves the abilities of the humanity at the same time. Therefore, we should also think about this. When we only think that we are servant, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the master, whatever he has given, then we must be happy with it. But this is, from one point of view, it's correct. But at the same time, whatever is given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's actually, it is according to the wisdom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wise. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if our intention is positive, everything may improve our abilities, inshallah. Even creation of shaitan improves the ability of the humanity by striving against shaitan. The spirituality of the humanity is increased, elevated. From that point of view, most of the difficulties we are facing, inshallah, it improves our capabilities, our inner faculties, such kind of things. We should also think about that.
Yeah, thank you, Nebi. That's also another important point. So we should know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he wants to make us pure.
Purify,
he
and
wants,
also improve our faculties, inner faculties.
Yeah, he is improving our strength. For example, especially the young, for example, the children. Whatever happening to them is strengthening their personality in their childhood. So giving them more strong and stronger conditions, making them prepare to the difficulties of the life. Any other comments or questions?
At the last part of the paragraph, thus like him, in order to display the impresses of his most beautiful names, the all-glorious maker, the peerless creator, alters within numerous circumstances the garment of the existence. He clothes on living creatures, visualed with senses and subtle faculties like eyes, ears, and reason, and the heart. He changes it within very many situations. Among these are circumstances in the form of suffering and calamity, which show the meaning of some of his names, and the rays of mercy within flashes of wisdom, and the subtle instances of beauty within those rays of mercy. Then all those things we face is also an indication of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though they are hardship, even though they seem us as calamity, inshallah, if our intention is positive, if our intention is, if we keep ikhlas, everything is for the sake of Allah, then by that way, our humanity faculties will be strengthened, inshallah. Yeah, I think one of hadiths was stating that any believer, even a calamity hits, he is also any calamity or any bounty comes to a believer. In both cases, he is actually gaining. He is gaining, you know. How? If any bounty comes, he makes shukr. He gives thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By that way, this shukr increases the bounties bestowed, inshallah. If any calamity hits, then he becomes patient, and he experiences sabr. By that way, he will be also benefited with sawab, with good deed reward is given to him. Therefore, any believer, every time he is gaining, actually.
Alhamdulillah, that hadith is very beautiful. As far as I remember, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, the condition of the believer is so strange. It means ajib, gharib. So whatever misfortune happens to him, he shows patience and gains sawab. Whatever goodness, bounty is happening to him, he makes shukr and gains sawab in any condition. The believers, those who are believing and acting according to the law of Allah, we are gaining.
Inshallah.
Sawab,
inshallah. Inshallah, Allah make us from the gaining ones.
Inshallah.
This is the test now, you know. Everybody, the test is individual, you know. Everybody must judge, and everybody must realize the things just himself.
Yes. So one brother was telling that about this coronavirus. It helped us. Coronavirus helped us as a whole, the whole world, helped us. Our condition, our position in the creation. So who are we, from where we are coming and to where we are going, and our condition, how is our condition? So it helped us to realize this fact, the reality, the truth in our creation. We are so weak, so we understand that we have endless needs, we have endless weakness, endless hopes. So we need to be protected, preserved, and we need to be sustained by an all-powerful, all-merciful creator. Coronavirus helped us this point. In the next topic, this is also explaining the wisdom behind the creation. So whatever Allah is creating, it's good, but it may be with the results or in its essence. We call it husn bizat. In the essence, everything is good, whatever created. So some of them are with their results. Husn bil ghayr, we call it. So the next topic is on the creation of devils, shaitan. Tapiwa, would you like to read that question?
Before going there's a brother who raised hands. I think maybe
maybe I didn't see it. Any brothers, who wants to comment on the previous topic? Please feel free.
Khan is raising hands. Maybe he wants to say something.
I didn't see it. So Furkan brothers, please feel free to comment.
Brother Gökhan Yavuz.
Yes, we are.
Anybody can join. Huh? Anybody can.
Of course. So.
Maybe
I may fail to see.
So they're just trying some features of it, I think.
Okay. If there is no other comment or any question, we can, inshallah, read the next question.
Okay.
Tapiwa, would you like to read?
But Tapiwa must open his. Okay, now it's okay.
Okay, bismillah. From the 12th letter, second question, why are devils created? Almighty Allah created shaitan and evils. What is the wisdom in it? Isn't the creation of evil, evil, and the creation of bad, bad? The answer, God forbid. The creation of evil is not evil. The acquisition of or desire for evil, rather, is evil. For creation and bringing into existence, look to all the consequences. I think the text.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And touch the screen. I have
That's
to
okay.
find the page quickly.
Jasmine, you can continue while waiting.
Yeah. For creation and bringing into existence, look to all the consequences. Did it come?
Okay.
Continue.
Copy.
Okay. Yep. I'm just looking for the. I'll start from the answer again. The answer:
Yes.
God forbid, the creation of evil is not evil. The acquisition of or desire for evil rather is evil. For creation and bringing into existence, look to all the consequences, whereas such desire looks to a particular result, since it is a particular relation. For example, there are thousands of consequences of rain falling, and all of them are good. If through mischoice some people receive harm from the rain, they cannot say that the creation of rain is not mercy. They cannot state that the creation of rain is evil, for it is due to their mischoice and inclination that it is evil for them. Also, there are numerous
benefits
in the creation of fire, and all of them are good. But if some people receive harm from fire through their misuse of it and their wrong choice, they cannot say that the creation of fire is evil, because it was not only created to burn them. Rather, they thrust their hands into the fire while cooking the food through mischoice, and made that servant inimical to themselves. In short, the lesser evil is acceptable for the greater good. If an evil which will lead to a greater good is abandoned so that a lesser evil should not be, a greater evil that have been perpetrated. For example, there are certainly some minor material and physical harms and evils in sending soldiers to fight a jihad. But in the jihad is a greater good whereby Islam is saved from being conquered by infidels. If the jihad is abandoned due to those lesser evils, then the greater evil will come after the greater good has gone. And that is absolute wrong. Also, for example, to amputate a finger which is infected with gangrene and has to be amputated is good and right, although it is apparently an evil. For if it is not amputated, the hand will be amputated, and that would be a greater evil. Thus, the creation and bringing into existence of evils, harms, tribulations, Satans, and harmful things is not evil and bad, for they are created for the many important results they yield. For example, Satans have not been set to pester the angels, and the angels cannot progress. Their degrees are fixed and deficient. However, in the world of humanity, the degrees of progress and decline are infinite. There is an extremely long
distance
through which to progress, from the Nimrods and the Pharaohs as far as the veracious saints and the prophets. Thus, through the creation of Satans and the mystery of man's accountability and the sending of prophets, an arena of trial and examination and striving and competition has been opened so that coal-like based spirits may be differentiated and separated out from diamond-like elevated spirits. If there had been no striving and competition, the potentialities in the mind of humanity, which are like diamonds and coal, would have remained equal. the spirit of Abu Bakr the Voracious at the highest of the high would have remained on the same level as that of Abu Jahl at the lowest of the low. This means that since the creation of Satans and evils looks to great and universal results, their being brought into existence is not evil or bad. The evils and instances of bad that arise from abuses and the particular causes known as inclination or choice pertain to man's acquisition and choice, not to divine creation.
Yeah. The question is, with this question we gain the meaning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever He has created. Of course, it has many wisdoms behind it, many benefits behind it, but acting those, for example, evils, the creation of evil and acquisition, the acting those evils, of course, it is evil. It happens to us with our free choice or abuse. We are causing evil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created that thing like shaitan, like fire. Very beautiful examples are given here. So they are created for many purposes, and we are turning them into an enemy for us and a harm for us and evil for us. We are causing evil with our choices, with our acquisition. So here, in that there is a rule here: the lesser evil is acceptable for the greater good. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yeah, he is, for example, making us, for example, this the meaning of jihad, fighting for our country. There are some losses in the jihad, fighting for our country's freedom or salvation from the harms of the enemies. So there are some harms, but we are saved from the assaults of the enemies. So there is a greater good in the jihad, but very little loss or evil, we call. So the example of Abu Bakr, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by creating the Satans, for example, he is causing us our abilities to flourish, to improve, to be improved, to be unfolded. We are, as a human being, we have been given the most example patterns, ahsan taqweem, but that abilities need some action, some striving, and shaitan causes this challenge. So by challenging shaitan, by challenging our nafs, which is given to us, our nafs, the evil commanding soul, it is given to us so that we strive against it, we fight against it, so that we can gain the ranks, the higher levels of our abilities to be unfolded. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has put us in an arena, a test, so that our abilities to unfold, for the separation of the higher spirited ones from the lower spirited ones. Here, very beautiful example of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. Abu Bakr Siddiq is with the test. It is he is separated from the Abu Jahl La'in, so one of the enemies of Islam. Yeah, with the test, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is distinguishing, separating the lofty spirits from the lower spirits, because they are causing evil with their own free choice, by abusing their free will. Yes, what do you think, dear brothers? Any comments, any questions, please?
Actually, brother, just at the answer, at the first sentence, the creation of evil is not evil. The acquisition of evil is evil. Yeah, we must memorize this. Huh? The creation of evil is not evil, but the acquisition of evil is evil. Or doing evil is evil. Huh? Yeah, we must memorize this actually. Allah created the evil since, you gave a lot of examples. It's also some examples are given here. But the main idea is this: the creation of evil is not evil. The acquisition of evil is evil.
Yeah, this is a very important point to be kept in our minds when we look at the creation. Yeah, we see very perfect wisdom, perfect design, and they are all, of course, for giving universal results, universal perfection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he's showing, but of course for the test, some lesser evils also appearing. We call them relative beauty. So with the creation of shaitan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows a relative beauty. With the results, its creation is also good.
That explanation was also thus the creation and bringing into existence of evils, harms, tribulations, shaitans, and harmful things is not evil and bad, for they are created for the many important results they yield. For example, shaitans have not been set to pester the angels, and the angels cannot progress. Their degrees are fixed and deficient. However, in the world of humanity, the degrees of progress and decline are infinite. Yeah, in the world of humanity, now we are facing such kind of things. Then in the world of humanity, the degrees of progress and decline are infinite. Progress is also infinite, decline is also infinite. Human being can be at alay illiyin, or at the asfali safilin, at the lowest of the low, or at the highest of the high. That means that humanity can go beyond the level of the rank of the angels. For example, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ showed this in Miraj, till Sidratil Muntaha, till Sidratil Muntaha. Jibril alayhi salam accompanied the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but after Sidratil Muntaha, he couldn't go beyond. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was beyond, and Qabu Qawsayn, and faced with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is also showing that the level of humanity can be much higher than the angels. But this is potentially there. If anybody applies the rules and regulations, then he may see in his life, maybe, The angels cannot progress. Their degrees are fixed and deficient. However, in the world of humanity, the degrees of progress and decline are infinite. There's an extremely long distance through which to progress, from the Nimrods and Pharaohs, as far as the virtuous saints and the prophets. Yeah, this is also a critical explanation here. We should always remember.
Thank you, Nebi Abi. Shall we read the third question, or we can? And
someone has a question in the chat. If you want to.
Okay, this is a similar question with the divine determining we read at the very beginning of our discussion. We can read this question. More or less, it is giving the same example. Yeah, let's read, Tafiwa.
Somebody asked a question in the chat. Do you want to read that question?
Ahmed, brother.
Who is reading?
Tapiwa, can you continue with the third question?
Okay. Did you want to read the question that somebody asked in the chat, or no?
You can read it. It's not so long.
No, I think there is another question from the group.
Okay. We waited for the question, but we heard other noises or voices.
No, they typed in a question. Somebody in the group typed a question into the chat box about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, rather than typing, maybe it's better to ask directly.
Or if typed, maybe Tapiva can read it.
Okay, I can try to read it. They said, can you give a comic book? Hold on. They said, can this be related to Adalati, Masa, and Izafia? I think it's what it's called.
Adalati Izafiye.
Adaleti mahsa, adaleti izafiye.
Yeah, adaleti izafiye. Pure justice and relative justice, huh?
So I asked a question. So I meant like that when we say it in the beginning of the paragraph, as you said, yes, together with the minor evil in creation are numerous instances of the good. Like, I mean, like it said, like for better good, for greater good, we may accept the less evil, as I understood. Is that can be related somehow with Adaleti Mahsa or Izafiye?
I think really couldn't relate it. Nebi abi, can you relate it?
I don't know. Yeah.
I think the station of the topic is maybe different from the Adaleti Mahza, Adaleti Hakikiye. Here is
but if this concept is applied in humanity, for example, in order to reach the best level, maybe we can accept some less evils. Maybe in our humanity, if we apply this, maybe it is called Adaleti Mahsa and Adaleti Izafiye. This is Adaleti Izafiye. Then the justice, relative justice. The other one is pure justice. At the pure justice, no evil is accepted. But in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I do not know whether we are in the position to evaluate this from that point of view. I'm not sure about it. But this... Yeah.
Maybe you can ask him. Sorry, I disturb you. You can continue, maybe.
Okay, if Ali Çetinkaya Abi is there, maybe he can give an explanation. Yeah.
I have just joined. That's why I'm listening now, inshallah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything, there are some lesser evils we see. Then at the explanation of this 12th letter, lesser evil is acceptable to reach to good, the best ones.
Greater goods.
Greater goods. Can this be also evaluated as pure justice and relative justice, Adaleti Mahsa and Adaleti Izafiye? And I was saying that if this rule, if this regulation is applied in humanity, maybe we can judge it Adaleti Mahsa or Adaleti Izafiye. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is creating the things, I don't know whether we are in the position to state this is Adaleti Mahsa or Adaleti Izafiye. That was the subject. You can now raise your opinion, Brother Ali.
Perhaps we can remember the 18th word, the second point. Ahsana kulle şeyin halaqa. Perhaps by taking help from that, perhaps, or by remembering. Ahsana kulle şeyin halaqa.
That means that everything is.
Yes.
Everything in creation.
Perfect.
From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything is in the best way.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yes.
That means that pure justice.
Yes. Because some of them cannot be seen easily, but if we think about the results, for example, in adaleti izafiye, if we think that there is relation with the subject we are discussing now, in the adaleti izafiye, in it also the exam is continuing. Perhaps the person, if the person who thinks that adaleti izafiye is necessary, but if he catch the opportunities to perform the class, he should prefer it. For example, I think this is a process. Perhaps during the exam, and there is exam in exam.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes.
I think it's enough. Huh? We can continue and read that third question and finish, huh? Afterwards. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we can, inshallah, read the third question. Are you available, Tapiwa, or yeah?
Okay. Third question. Almighty Allah sends calamities and inflicts tribulations. Is this not tyrannical towards the innocent in particular, and animals even? The answer, God forbid, the sovereignty is his. He holds sway over his possessions as he wishes. Moreover, a skillful craftsman makes you a model in return for a wage and dresses you in a bejeweled garment that he has most artistically fashioned. Then, in order to display his art and skill, he shortens it and lengthens it, measures it and trims it, and he makes you sit down and stand up. Are you able to say to him, "You have made the garment which made me beautiful ugly. You have caused me trouble, making me sit down and stand up"? Of course you cannot say that. If you did say it, you would be crazy. In just the same way, the all-glorious Maker has clothed you in a most artistically wrought being, bejeweled with faculties like the eye, the ear, and the tongue. In order to display the embroideries of various of his names, he makes you ill, he afflicts you with tribulations, he makes you hungry, he fills you, he makes you thirsty, he makes you revolve in states like these. In order to strengthen the essence of life and display the manifestation of his names, he makes you journey in numerous such conditions. If you say, "Why do you inflict these calamities on me?" as is indicated in the comparison, 100 instances of wisdom will silence you. In any event, calm, repose, idleness, monotony, and arrest from action are forms of non-existence and harm. Action and change are existence and good. Life finds its perfection through action. It progresses by means of tribulations. Life manifests various actions through the manifestation of the divine names. It is purified, finds strength, it unfolds and expands. It becomes a mobile pen to write its own appointed course. It performs its duty and acquires the right to receive reward in the hereafter.
So the answer, the very first question, first sentence of the answer is very important, maybe in terms of covering the topic. So مالك الملك يتصرف في ملكه كيف يشاء. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is the Lord, he is the Sultan of the universe. So whatever he does, of course, he has full possession, he has full right to act as he wishes, because he is the creator, he is the real owner of everything. So if we for example, if we see a person is acting to his car or to his property in a wrong way, we cannot claim anything. What are you doing to your property? of course, it would be meaningless because that car is belonging to that person. So you cannot interfere with whatever he does. So he can have a kind of wisdom according to him. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, he is the real owner of everything. So it's not, we cannot call it as tyrannical, whatever happening to us, either innocent or non-innocent. It may be animals or so on. So everything is his property, everything is his possession. So, but we can consider this as the truth part. But when we come to the wisdom part, so there are many wisdoms behind those happenings. It may be called as misfortune, or it may be called as the calamities, to tribulations inflicting us. So we can consider what is the wisdom behind it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing his beautiful asma, the embroideries of his asma al-husna. So he is showing us Ism Shafi with the illnesses. He is showing us his mercy while giving us hunger and so on.
And with some difficulties, the abilities are improving. If anybody, if we see somebody, he is putting the wheat grains under the ground, but this doesn't know how the agriculture is done. Only he knows that the bread is made up of the wheat. But somebody is putting the wheat under the ground, and after maybe irrigation, why you are putting this seed under the ground? It will perish there. He may not understand the wisdom there, Then he can be against this action. But actually, if he knows that how the farm is done, how the agriculture is done, then okay. After putting the seed under the ground, the abilities of those ones will improve. Then he will go to the air side, and he will become. It will become maybe a tree, fruit-giving tree. Similarly, the maybe abilities of the human being with some difficulties, just at the apparent way, maybe we can say that, it's ugly, it's not good, but the abilities will be unfolded by such kind of difficulties. Therefore, we should always try to reach this wisdom, We should not judge everything according to the appearance, but we should try to reach to the deep meaning, what's there. There is a veil, behind veil, what is existing there. We should try to reach this reality, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe any other comment on this question and answer?
Perhaps we can read, or we can remember the fourth remedy of the 25th flash for the sick. Fourth remedy, we can remember, or rather can read it.
If you summarize, Abi, would be nice also.
Because perhaps the last sentence we can remember. I'd like to share. Since suffering and calamities show the decrease of some of his names, you told. Since suffering and calamities show the decrease of some of his names, within those flashes of wisdom and rays of mercy are many instances of good to be found. If, especially this sentence should be remembered, related to our subject, if the veil of illness which you fear and loathe was to be lifted, the example brother gave now, lifted, behind it, you would find many agreeable and beautiful meanings. Behind it, again, we can remember the verse, ahsene kulle şeyin halaka, behind it you would find many agreeable and beautiful meanings. Yes.
MashaAllah, thank you.
Thank you, Alabi. This is a very important point. We are unable to see the beauties behind the tribulations, whatever happenings to us, like this coronavirus. So we don't know whatever Allah has prepared for us as mercy, as from His endless wisdom. Yeah. If we were able to see behind that veil, we would say, oh Allah, continue your mercy, your rahmah, your beauties, to come.
Sorry. Actually, individually, we should try to make benefit from that. You know? Since every individual has responsibility towards Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, then how can we make use of this situation for our improvement, for our spiritual elevation, or for dawah, for spreading the ilahi kalimatullah to the others? Then we should focus to our responsibilities in every time. I think we should focus our responsibilities and duties. What can we do now? What can improve ourselves? What can try to share those meanings to the other people which are in need of reaching such kind of matters.
Yes. And perhaps, especially we can remember the 24th remedy, first paragraph, the illnesses of innocent children. What are the wisdoms, for example? A lot of questions are coming about that. The illnesses of innocent children. And the ill looks to, as you know, to their future in this world and hereafter, not the past of them, for example. That's why perhaps we should choose our words as we are speaking the wisdoms of disaster and illnesses, because the wisdom looks to children, the wisdom looks to youth, the wisdoms perhaps priority can change. There are a lot of wisdoms. That's why we should remember that everything has a lot of meanings, not one meaning, one side, one aspect, a lot of aspects. If we remember, I think it becomes easy to understand. I'd like to share a few sentences from the 24th remedy. It is established by the people of reality that the illnesses of innocent children are like exercises and training for their delicate bodies, and injections and dominical training to allow them to withstand in the future the upheavals of the world, that in addition to many instances of wisdom pertaining to the child's worldly life, instead of the atonement for sins in adults, which looks to spiritual life and is the means to purifying life, illnesses are like injections ensuring the child's spiritual progress in the future or in the hereafter. Yes, a lot of parents, for example, they send to small children to the school very early, for example, very early. And sometimes we see them on the road, and we think that they should be in bed now, in that time, very early. But parents think that we are preparing for the future. We are preparing them for the future in this world, and they think that they should do this. Allah prepares for the innocent children the exam in the future, for example, there are a lot of meanings. Yes.
Yeah, then everybody should try to focus on the real future. The real future is the coming
Hereafter.
one, but the hereafter. The real future is there.
Yeah.
Okay.
بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Abis. Inshallah, we can, inshallah, and here, if there is no other comment, inshallah, we will continue reading from the PDF. Inshallah, the next topic is the second flash. It is the Qissa Ayyub alayhi salam. Inshallah, we will on Friday at the same hour.
At 3 p.m.
At 3 p.m. in Turkey time. Inshallah, in American time, according to the Eastern time.
Okay, brother.
We are at 8 a.m. Inshallah, we will continue.
Inshallah.
If you have time, inshallah, it would be great to look at the second flash, so we can inshallah have an idea before having our circle. It will be it will increase our benefit inshallah from these meanings of Quran. From these are flashes from the ayat Quraniya. Inshallah, we can understand better. It will be nice, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan.
Amen. Thank you very much, brother.
Jazakumullahu khair. Jazakumullahu khair.
May Allah protect us from the inshallah tribulations and calamities. Inshallah. We should make dua both actively and inshallah verbally.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
May Allah reward you abundantly. See you Friday at 3, inshallah.
Ameen. Ameen. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Al-Fatiha.